Well, good morning everybody and welcome to that Kentuckessee Angler Show. Today's video is all about fish attractants and whether they actually make a difference on the water. So we're going to be working with two different fish attractants in today's video. We have the Yum crawfish scent right here and we have the Baitmate fish attractant classic bass flavor. I brought a handful of different lures out here today and a couple rods, everything from conventional soft plastics that tend to do well in this creek to lures that I think will hold these scents well. Of course, there are going to be plenty of variables and elements I can't control out here. I've thought about this concept for a while and the best I can come up with is to rotate baits going from scented to non-scented every 5 minutes in every major spot jump. If one of them really stands out more than the other, I think we'll have an answer. Lure wise, we're going to get started with that Marabou jig. I figure the material this bait's made out of should hold that scent pretty well, at least the spray version we're working with today. And we got quite a selection, but I think we're going to go with yellow. You can't go wrong with the yellow in these creeks. So we got 5 minutes set on the board. Let's get started right now. We got that timer rolling. Now we're starting out in kind of a slacker area and we're gonna work our way into the currents. It has been pretty hot out, as is tradition come summertime in Tennessee. So I'm thinking the majority of these fish are gonna be at flow points and shady little pockets. We're gonna work our way to some of those. I did want to start out in some slacker water. Rod wise, we are working with two different combos. We're starting out with our BFS setup. That's what we're working right now. This is a light rod and we have a medium light spinning rod as well. We're just going to be alternating between the two. I wanted to throw two rods in there to make it easier on myself. So far, nothing out of this area. First 5 minutes looking grim. There we go. Let's make our switch. I do want to start out with that Yum crawfish scent on this bait. We are going to be alternating between the two attractants I brought with me, but this seems like a good place to start. Let's get this bad boy sprayed down. All right, it's red. So there's that. And we're just gonna coat her up. That red might actually help us get hit. That seems good enough for me, at least for now. We're gonna kind of ease into this. I don't really fish with these too often. I could count on one hand how many times I've actually used these attractants, really. And we're just gonna do exactly what we just did and fish the same areas, just kind of right around here. And let's get that timer set. We're ready to rock. All right, and immediately upon our first retrieve, all of that red has left the bait. I don't know if that makes a difference or not. Don't know how I feel about that. So spot one has yielded nothing for us, which is a pretty good indication that I need to make a huge jump. I've made a hike to this wooded area. We're gonna work our way through it and hit a less pressured stretch of creek. In case that's the issue, really I want all the odds in my favor today. And man, every time I come here, this place is more overgrown, but you have to love it. It means it's really not getting fished as much as the other water around here. This is a fairly popular location, though there are areas you can kind of get out of the way with, kind of get to some less traveled stuff out here if you pay attention. And this stretch down here is absolutely gorgeous, and it's just that, less traveled. And here we go. We have a beautiful little flow down here. I think it's gonna help us pull some fish. This pocket looks good. Probably spooking just about everything in there, so we're gonna walk down here and come back to it. We have some slack pockets over here, which are always good. I have pulled nice bass out of them before. And this area that still has a reasonable amount of shade. That's where we're gonna start out. So we are making a swap to our 1/8 ounce rooster tail. I just want a bait I'm a little more confident in and one that's gonna open us up species wise to a wider variety, kind of help get that skunk off my back and really give me a feel for the water. Though it doesn't look like it, there is a lot of current in this area. As you can see, we're gonna try to fish with it. I'm gonna throw some up in this little pocket right over here. There we go. So it does sound like they're doing construction out here. We're not gonna be in this area too long. It is very loud. We're already getting swiped at. I've seen that blade knocked a couple times on that first retrieve. Let's get it back in there. There we go, fish on. And what are we working with? Tiny micro largie. But it's a fish and we gotta be thankful for it. It's actually hard to tell if this is a spot or a largemouth. I'm going largie based on the fish in my area and how they look. at this age. Look, I know she's small, but it's tradition to show off our first fish on this channel, as we had to be thankful for a sign that we got some biting fish in the area. It is a baby juvenile bass. Let's get her back in. 1 point for the non-scented. Beautiful. So let's spray her down. We're gonna be rotating to the Baitmate Fish Attractant. This is a classic bass ultra concentrated formula, natural fish oils, fish pheromones, and anise oil. I don't know how to pronounce that. So right away, the spray has a completely different consistency. It's a lot more oily. Maybe it'll work a little better. And we got some rainbows as soon as that oily stuff touched the water. Look at that spread. Maybe I should wait till this is cast in the perfect spot before I get it wet. This little hole very well might be packing something. Oh, all right, so we've had, okay, we got a fish. I was gonna say, we've had multiple bites now. What are we working with? All right, there we go. They like the bass attractant. Little long ear on our first cast, man. Spray me in the face with that stuff. Pretty, man. Itty bitty little fish. That's one for the attractant. We still got some time. We've caught a fish on each rod. Let's keep going at it. So we're gonna reapply in a couple casts, considering we just caught that on our first one. Now this creek does hold a wide variety of species, right? You got your bass trifecta. There we go, there we go. Largies, smallies, spots. We got brim. What is this? We got trout, all sorts of things in here. Beautiful, man. There we go, bass number 2. Back to back on the bass attractant. I'm liking it, dude. I'm digging it. Beautiful, dude. There we go, my friends, a gorgeous little largie. She's not huge, but we're working our way up size-wise. That's 2 back-to-back on that bass attractant. I'm feeling good about it. Thanks for biting, buddy. Whoa. There we go. Right off that bank. All right, man, there's the old buzzer, man. I gotta start pausing these while I talk. We got that non-scented back on. I'm gonna continue to hit this hole in this little area. I just wanna throw a couple more casts out here, make sure we got it all cleared out. I'm really glad we made that jump. Probably like a 5-10 minute walk. And it's making all the difference. There we go. That's a decent one, man. That's a decent bass for this creek. She's not huge, but she's something. Another point for the non-scented. And they're getting bigger. Another beautiful largie out here. Let's get her back in. There we go. The bait's just teeming in this area. It looks like a really good spot. So we're gonna hit this stream really quick where that water's running off. This area just seems absolutely loaded. The amount of swipes we're getting before actually hooking into these fish is pretty stellar. I mean, it's just packed up right now. These are the areas we're gonna have to target today. I know of a couple of them, a couple similar ones. We're gonna fish this one out for a couple minutes and we're gonna work our way into that little shady patch. There's also a flow down there. I don't know if it'll be as productive. It doesn't have quite as much depth to it. And we'll get some right up in that current. There we go, there's a fish. That's what I'm talking about, baby. Oh, hard fighter, man, hard fighter. Beautiful, man. Beautiful, we found the bass. She's healthy, man. Oh gosh, oh, you're crazy. They get so charged up in these streams. She's a plump, thick, healthy one, man. Look at that beautiful largie. Let's get her back in. She's ready to go. All right, I'm sorry. All right, we're just gonna spritz down this rooster tail again with that same classic bass stuff. I don't wanna mix up this scent. I will say, this still feels oily to me, which is a good sign. It just didn't all vanish immediately as soon as it hit the water, which is something I'm a little worried about. So we're just working our way through this creek. I wanted to hit this area really, really quick. It looks like we still have a pretty defined shade line and a flow. We were fishing right over there. Definitely worth throwing a couple more casts in that area. That spot is absolutely holding. There's been no shortage of fish out of that area. Glad I came. But check that out, man. It looks good, it looks juicy, it looks super duper snaggy. That's surely gonna be holding panfish, possibly bass. This spot down here is what I wanted to hit. And we're starting with our freshly sprayed rooster tail out here. Let's see what we can do. Oh, fish on, man. Immediately. Another long ear. Pretty one. I will never not love catching these fish. I'm a huge fan. They're so gorgeous. I love those colors. It just really looks like an ocean fish. Thanks for biting, buddy. All right, let's just move down here a little bit. I do want to mess around with that flow in a second. I don't want to lose these rooster tails before I do. I only have, I think I have 4 of them right now in my box, and they're very easy to lose. So we have some grass right here. We also have a tree over there. This could be packing, man. All right, big camera down. It's pretty toasty today. They're already starting to overheat on me. I'm gonna do, there we go, fish on. Of course, man. Always hook up when one of those camera dies or there's loud construction in the background. Another one. Beautiful, and our time's just about up with this rod. We're gonna need some pliers. And thanks for biting, buddy. So we are working non-scented yet again. I'm gonna put a little counter up on the screen so we can kind of follow around. I've completely lost track of what has caught fish and what hasn't. We'll recheck that when I edit this video, but they're both doing all right, man. I like that bass scent so far. We're gonna throw a couple more casts in this area. I think, did we just hook up? No. I think we got a little nibble, and then we're gonna jump back to that shaded area, let the camera cool off, fish out that hole, and then make a mega jump, kind of start questing around this creek, seeking out areas where I think fish are gonna be hiding. There we go, fish on. What are we working with? It feels tiny, like a tiny little, there we go. Another little long ear, not shocked, smallest fish of the day. And before our timer runs out, I want to run up here and hit this flow before we make kind of our larger jump out here. And we're going to get risky with it. All right, maybe there's a big one sitting here instantly, dude. As soon as I hit the water, we're on. Only old non-scented. Okay, I'm gonna count that even though we didn't touch it, because it's not about me landing the fish, it's whether these attractants work or not. Throw another one up there. So he was chilling right here in that grass line, which we have a little bit of. There we go, fish on. Fighting like another bass. Oh no, long ear. I stand corrected. All right, thanks for biting, buddy. There could be something chilling just like right here. I'll put this one in. Okay, there we go. There we go, fish on. Just where I thought you'd be hiding. Oh, another long ear. Wow, this one is just bright orange. Look at that. Beautiful. All right, my friend, so I'm letting our other camera cool off right now. It overheated. I wanted to hit this stream one more time with our bass scent before switching lures. Oh, there we go, fish on. Fish on. Little fella. Smallie. Right, am I right? Yeah, beautiful. Super pretty fish right there, man. She's absolutely gorgeous. I love that speckling. There she goes. In an effort to keep today's video interesting, we're gonna do a quick bait swap. Obviously, they're hammering that rooster tail, but I did wanna throw some soft plastics today, so we're changing up to the 6 Sense Divine Swim Bait. This is a 2.7-inch soft plastic paddle tail. I got that rigged on a 1/8 ounce ball head jig, and we're gonna be coating that bad boy up with the Yum Crawfish scent. Let's give this one another go out here. And we're just gonna spray that one down. Let's go ahead and coat both sides. So this stuff did seem to come off like right away. We are gonna be running our scented version on that BFS rod, at least for now. And we're making our way past our fruitful flow in our shade to this little shaded out pocket down here. Looks like it could be good. There is some flow a little bit further down we're gonna target, but I have a feeling there might be a fish packed up in there under those trees. Under that cover there usually is. Ooh, that water feels good, man. So we did leave off with our scented bait, so we're gonna start out with our non-scented and get it right back out there. So we're working our way through this water right now, through this deeper pocket. I ran both those baits a full cycle and we caught nothing on them. They might just not be feeling the soft plastics. That really is gonna eliminate the option of us pulling any kind of panfish. We're kind of targeting bass now, maybe rock bass, that sort of thing. Anything willing to eat those paddle tail swim baits, but nothing on either bait out of this area. Not a great sign. I am hesitant to move considering we had a nice bite going on back there, but I do want to keep exploring a little bit. We have some shade over here. This water's not really running quite as quickly, but it does look like a little isolated deep pocket. And we do have some flow over here, if I'm not mistaken. So there's gonna be some taller grass and vegetation to work our way through. This does look pretty similar to the area we were pulling our other fish out of. Ah, crap. Other camera is down. Whatever, man. We just have to work without it. Oh, there we go. Fish on, my friends. Wow, caught me off guard. Beautiful little largie right there. And of course our other camera died, but we caught that fish pretty quickly in an area very similar to, sorry bud, where we have been fishing. Off she goes. All right, so that was on the non-scented bait. We're gonna continue to fish out this area. There's some really nice grass. That stuff down there, I don't know how deep it gets. We can go exploring, check that stuff out. There we go, fish on, man. Little baby, little baby. Oh, right there, buzzer beater, man. Oop. And she made her way back into the water. All right, time for that yum crawfish scent. Kind of do exactly what we were just doing, throw up into this. I feel like there's a bigger one sitting in this flow. We just got to coax her into biting. Maybe the old crawfish scent is enough to get it done. So nothing on that craw yet again. I can't get him to eat it. We're actually going back to the area we came from. There's another side we can get down to that could be holding fish. I'm starting to think they're really just looking for that flash today. That rooster tail is really gonna be the answer, and it's gonna open us up to some other panfish and stuff. So we're gonna throw our soft plastics back in this pocket a couple times, and I'm gonna swap out baits. So we haven't caught anything yet on this yum crawfish scent. I fished that whole area out for about 30 minutes, the stream, the surrounding area. I pulled absolutely nothing. So we're back in this somewhat productive area where we started out, and we're gonna continue using that yum until we do catch a fish. I want to raise the odds. I wanna be fair to this scent right now, and it seems like these fish really want the rooster tail, so I got a new one tied on. We're gonna scent this baby up and see if we can pull something. And we're just gonna spray the heck out of her this time. There we go, man, soaking. So we're gonna start out in our little hole over here. We might even make a trek up to the other side of this. There is a small flow in that area. It's hard to move around though. You can see it's an absolute jungle up there. And let's get our timer going. Throw this up in this little pocket right over here where we've had a lot of luck this morning. I just wanna fish on this bait. I should have switched out scents a bit earlier. We fished that bass scent for a minute, but it was really working. There we go, that's our first fish. Itty bitty long ear right there. But it is a fish on the yum scent. Thanks for biting, buddy. That's something, man. That is something. There's no way that's the only fish up in this hole. Let's get another cast in there. We're looking for a big old bass right now. All right, our camera's had some time to cool off. I just paused our timer and we're gonna run over here and throw a couple casts at this shade line underneath this tree. I don't know how shallow it's gonna be, but we have some grass over there. I have pulled smallmouth out of it before, and we might actually trek over here. You know what? Let's just start out kind of looking at this area. It's been a minute since I attempted to fish this spot. Actually, it looks decent right now. We do have a flow over here. This is all really, really shallow. Okay, man, beautiful stretch though. This down here could be packing. Actually, I'm seeing bait. Is it gonna be an absolute snag fest? That's certainly a possibility. but it looks like we might be able to pull fish out of here. All right, brand new fresh area for that yum scent. Oh, there we go. It spooked me, man. Little bass, okay. We're gonna count that one, I saw it. There we go, another one. Now we're catching them, man. This is a juvenile bluegill. I'm imagining that the fish that call this little stretch home don't know too much about artificial lures. Pretty one. At least the smaller ones here. And that's that. We're actually wading through this little pool right here. We're done with that round. And I'm seeing how far I can actually take this right now. Once we hit pocket level, I'm gonna call it quits. There is a lot of fairly untouched creek down here. I don't wanna explore through that grass right now. I just don't like the idea of it. Not trying to get any ticks, not trying to run into any big old snakes either. But here we are, we made it. Wasn't too bad. Super pretty, man. Look at these rocks, dude. That is absolutely gorgeous right there. This whole little area is just beautiful. Man, let's get to it. This stuff looks a little deeper. So this is our non-scented rooster tail. Oh, there we go. I don't know why that scared me so much. All right, so let's just get a feel for this stuff. Okay, so this water is deep, deep. This is something that I am gonna wait to do with my buddy. You never know what's down there, man. On the off chance something happened to me, no one really knows I'm out here today, and it's kind of, well, that's just outstanding. It's kind of out of the way. It's harder to get to. So we're gonna stop exploring this little stretch today, and we'll continue on another day. Well, good morning, everybody. It is day 2 and we've made a spot jump. I wanted to do something a little bit different, try it in another area. So we're fishing a local marina right now where the fish, they're not gonna be as plentiful, but there is a chance we catch a much larger one. We're gonna keep up with that same 5-minute rotation, same spot jump rotation out here, but we are gonna be using some different baits. We're throwing exclusively soft plastics today, and we're throwing a 2.75-inch tube. So here's a look at the tubes we're gonna be using today. My number one concern is that as soon as we throw this in, all of that scent spray we're using just kind of washes right off that bait. I mean, why wouldn't it? Maybe they thought of it, maybe it's oily enough to kind of stay on, at least get some residue, but I did pre-rig some of these and I sprayed scent up inside the tube. So hopefully that helps us get the job done. We're still gonna be spraying down these baits as we go. So we're gonna be starting out non-scented as that's where we left off, and our timer is rolling. Let's see what we can do out here. So I do fish this area a lot on this channel. It's essentially a large square. You got a corner there, a corner there, a corner there, a corner there, and the river flows in just beyond those trees. There's also a boat launch over there. We'll see what we can do today. Last couple times I was here, it was like 1 to 2 fish days. I'm hoping it's a different story this morning, but we're gonna find out. If there was a day for scents to work, it would be today, when we don't have as much time to fish and in an area where the bite hasn't been super awesome. I'm gonna be using my spinning rod for non-scented, and we'll be using our casting rod for scented. They're both medium sticks. So one's a medium 7.1 and we have a medium 7.4, both fast action rods. There we go, fish on, my friends. Oh, come on up here. Hey, that's a good sign. I'm not gonna get too excited. Last time I was here, I caught one in the first 5 minutes as well. All right, nice largie though. Yo, easy. She's a beaut, man. Whoa. There we go, my friends. Our first fish of the day, and she's absolutely gorgeous. A nice, healthy, hard fighting largie, and a buzzer beater at that. Let's get her back in. Thanks for biting, girl. Let me get you out there. So we're gonna spray the outside of this bait. As I mentioned, I already kind of soaked the inside of them, but let's just give this a little extra power right there and see what she does. We're working with that Baitmate Classic scent. And we're just gonna carefully work our way down here. You can see just from my bait splashing around how much of that scent just shot down into the water. Hopefully it draws them in. It is like rainbow colors. There we go, fish on. I felt her bump it. She feels good. All right, she's shrinking. She's shrinking. I don't think this is a bass, actually. What are we working with? Drum. Drums like the scent. We are working that scented rod right now. There we, oh, she spined me, man. There we go, guys. Our second fish of the day, second species. A nice looking drum hard fighter. Digging that bass scent right there. I guess it works for all sorts of fish, man. And off she goes. So we're making a small jump, maybe 20, 30 feet. We're gonna start working some of this rock and work our way down to that pocket over there. Should be holding something, man. 2 fish within like the first 15 minutes. That's a pretty good sign. Oh my goodness, dude. Giant drum. Just came up for our bait. I think I spooked him. All right, so now things are gonna get interesting. So we just missed a very decent sized drum. I'm curious, I cast around for another like 3 minutes or so. I'm curious if now that we apply that scent, maybe it'll hit. That would be really interesting. That'd be super cool. And we're gonna respray real quick. And that would be super cool and super interesting. So I think I brought her in from over here, but I think she went this way. So we're gonna start out in the direction I think she swam. She could be long gone by now, but if there's a chance she's still hanging in the area, maybe the scent will bring her in. Maybe that's what she needs to bite. I mean, she came up right at the feet and I tried to narrate it and she ran away, man. There's no doubt in my mind that some species are attracted to scents like catfish, that sort of deal. However, these sprays are more intended for bass, so. There we go, fish on. All right, so on our non-scented rod, bass for sure. Maybe I'm wrong. Oh, that's a little largemouth. Yikes, come up here, buddy. Whoa. There we go, my friends. Pretty one right there. Just look at her, gorgeous. Another healthy largie, man. So far the largemouth, the bass have only hit the non-scented lure. Pretty one though, thanks for biting, girl. Well, I hope you've enjoyed the video so far. If you have, like, subscribe. It really helps support the channel and I greatly appreciate it. So what do we think? Do they actually work? The Yum Crawfish scent and the Baitmate Fish Attractant Classic Bass variety. So I showed y'all every fish catch. I tried to be as authentic, as fair as possible to those baits out there on the water, rotating every 5 minutes in every major spot jump. And I ended up catching more fish on non-scented lures. It was very, very close though. I am gonna throw that out there right now, but I basically feel the exact same way I felt about them before I even made this video. That being that they really don't make or never have made a difference to me on the water. I do want to hear your experience. Drop a comment. I'm just being brutally honest with my experience when it comes to these scents. I'm not trying to sell y'all anything, obviously. I'm not trying to slander any company. Do I think it's snake oil? No, I think there is some science, some thought that goes into the making of these attractants, and I think they do work in certain situations. But just those 2 days, our little experiment, they really didn't make a difference. If a fish was gonna eat, I think they were gonna eat whether there was a scent or no scent, as we saw during the fishing portion of this video. But of course, I did some research. I looked up some articles, and let me tell you what I found. So I went to Google on this information quest. Where else am I gonna go? I dug through dozens of articles. Basically, your first 2 pages are either big bass blogs. You probably have heard of them before. I'm not gonna do any name dropping on this channel right now. And on the other hand, you have like your scent manufacturer, your fish attractant companies, you know, like putting out stuff. But I did find a really interesting article I quite enjoyed I actually wrote it down here so I'd remember, the wildlifeleadership.org, the 5 senses of a largemouth bass. This is what we're dealing with right now. So I'm not gonna read this entire article to you, but I will give you the key takeaways and the points that I found interesting. It really just solidified what I already believed. Basically, bass are very visual hunters, right? They have great vision. They also have pretty good hearing, man. Pretty impressive hearing out there. They can hear a crayfish click like pretty far away and zoom in on them, all right? That's why people utilize rattles a lot. They also can sense vibrations very well with their lateral line. Those are like the 3 major hunting senses out there. The last 2 that they use while hunting is their sense of smell and their sense of taste. So those are like the lesser utilized senses out there. So scent is not as important as like visuals, right? Does it help? I think it does a little bit in some instances. In really murky water with poor visibility, yeah, I think, you know, I'd probably look to one of these to up my odds. But for the most part, I think if I'm working clear water conditions, I'm probably just gonna go kind of solo, straight up lure. The downside of these scents is that they can be messy and they're kind of a hassle, especially when I didn't have any issues with either of these, but I have had bags of scented bait open up in my bag, and it's just an absolute nightmare out there. I think some of y'all can probably relate with that. Now, bass, from everything that I've read, from just like spending 2 hours reading a bunch of articles on bass's sense of smell, they can, yes, they can smell stuff fairly well, but nowhere near as well as other fish can. There's certain fish species out there that can just like hone in on scent like something else, man. Not as much bass. Rather than just their fish attracting abilities, another popular claim about these scents is that bass are more inclined to hang onto your bait a little bit longer. I do truly believe this. It just makes sense to me, right? Instead of just picking up a piece of plastic saying, ooh, that tastes like a piece of plastic, they think it tastes like a familiar forage and they're gonna try to hang on to it that much longer, giving you a little more time to recognize that fish on the end of your line and throw that hook set. I do believe that's a bit of an edge. All right, that makes sense to me. That's a good reason to use something like this out there. They're also commonly used to cover up like human scent, odor, your oils, that sort of thing. I have some buddies who are very superstitious. One friend in particular who washes his hands in the river before even tying on. I don't believe in this at all. I catch a lot of fish. I've been fishing for a while. I've never done anything to cover up my own scent. I will probably not continue to buy scents and apply them. If I'm fishing murky water, I probably will. And hey, I might do a video where we do like a battle of the scents. We'll get some of that gel. I know they make a nice like gel scent. My main qualm with these, well, this one immediately, that bait was red, dude. As soon as it touched the water, it was normal color again. This one, I could see it like splashing off that bait right away. It did feel like it maintained it a little bit longer. It was kind of oily, but again, I caught more fish on unscented baits. Anyhow, guys, I hope you found that interesting. Drop a comment. Again, let me know what you think, if you've noticed a huge difference while bass fishing with scents. It's certainly not a magic potion, man. If there aren't fish in the area, I don't think it's gonna be bringing in a ton of bass. Is it gonna help? Maybe. We'll probably never know. So I don't really know. I really feel like I've said the same thing like 10 times in this breaking down the baits portion, but basically I feel the exact same way about these scents as I did going into it. When I find one and it really gets bit and like regular lures aren't getting bit, I will use that thing nonstop. I will be a true believer. As of now, well, I think that they might work kind of, but not really enough for me to invest any time or energy hauling them around or money buying them. Anyhow, guys, hope you all enjoyed the video. Be good to yourselves, be good to each other. I got a fun one planned for next week. I'm actually going out tomorrow to film it, and I think it's gonna be an absolute blast. Peace.